beyond reality. Written by Marie D. Henry, copyrighted 1996. And by the way, this is called a vanishing dog, and it's a ghost dog. It's not a real dog, and so no animal was hurt in this story. Vance was on his way to town with a load of firewood to sell. He went by way of Rose Hill Road, which took him out of the cold northwest wind that blew down the unprotected Teddy Gush Road. Also, this morning his friend Dave would be waiting to meet him at the farm of a friend in St. Anne's. With a heavy load of wood on the sled, the horses had to walk all the way, and Vance was beginning to feel the cold working its way through his sheepskin-lined leather coat and woolen pants. Rose Hill Road passed through a lot of woodland and connected with St. Anne's Road, which also went through thick woods. Vance was glad for the shelter from the wind. It was a much warmer way to travel to Bathurst than down the Teddy Gush Road. The team walked along at a good pace, and Vance's thoughts drifted to why the road he was on was called Rose Hill Road. And just ahead of the team was one reason for the name: a long but not too steep hill until you reached the top. There it was steeper, and on its summit grew thick clumps of wild roses. In the spring and early summer, the hill was beautiful and sweet-smelling with the fragrance of the roses. But in winter, it was a dreary spot. The branches of the wild roses stuck out of the snow like dried bones sticking out of their graves. Their clicking and clacking in the wind followed you on the wind as you went past and on down the road towards St. Anne's Road. After Vance passed the Rose Bush graveyard, the road entered the protection of even thicker woods, and Vance was grateful for its greater protection from the bone-chilling wind. It was now well past daylight. On each trip to town, he would reach this spot at about the same time. The sun rose above the trees on the east side of the road, and he welcomed its warmth. It promised to be a sunny day, but a very cold day. He figured that the temperature was about 15 below zero, and its bite on the tips of his mittened fingers forced him to hold the reins with one hand while warming the other under his coat. His toes in his boots were also complaining, and he banged his feet together in an effort to get the blood moving in them with its heat. The horses walked along smartly, and the stillness broken only by the squeak of the sled runners on the frozen snow. Vance kept a sharp watch on the road ahead, for sometimes there were other teams coming from town, and the narrow road made it difficult for passing. Ahead of him was a small clearing to the right of the road, about a mile from the turn onto St. Anne's Road. When he reached the clearing, Vance saw a black object on the side of the road, some distance ahead. His first thought was that it was Dave, but he soon realized that the object was too small, unless he was sitting down in the snow. As Vance got closer, he saw that it was not a person, but something black and round. He thought someone on their way to town has lost a sack of feed or a chunk of wood. Thinking he would stop and pick it up, he gave his attention to the team because Shandy, the black Canadian mare, was very nervous of strange objects. The one thing he did not want her to do was to shy to the left. If she did that, she would push Tony, her matched brother, off the road and into the deep snow of the ditch. If that happened, both horses would go down to their bellies and get stuck. Vance kept a tight rein on them as he drew closer to the object. As they got nearer, he saw that the black object was a big black dog lying on his belly just over to the side of the road. He was just enough over that they would be able to pass him. Vance thought, if he jumps at the team, I'll give him a good crack with the bullwhip. That's the end of part 1 of The Vanishing Dog. Next one will be the completion of the story. Thanks for watching.